Welcome back to the Max Effort Kitchen podcast. We got a great segment for you. It's called The Athlete and the Chef. So sit back, relax, and let's go. All right. Welcome to the Max Effort Kitchen podcast. I am Matt and this is Cornell, and we are here to talk about things of weightlifting. How are you doing, Cornell?
I'm good. Just got home a few minutes ago, went to the movies.
Nice.
Pretty busy day. Working at the house yesterday and today, just getting stuff ready. It's funny when you get rid of like so much of your crap, even though it's just like in bins in the garage and in a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, the house looks so nice. We don't need any of that stuff. We haven't used it in weeks.
Yeah, I know.
No.
I mean, I still have stuff in this house. Like we have a room that we haven't even, it's just a bare room. So,
Yeah.
You know, and it's downstairs and it's been cold or whatever, but we haven't done anything with it. And it's like, do I really want to go out and buy a bunch of crap to put in there and not use it half of the year? I don't know.
No, that's your yoga room.
Yeah. I've contemplated.
You don't want anything in there?
Yeah.
That's where you can go to stretch and to be alone.
Yes. I like that. You know, I did because I bought a projector for that room, and I'm like, this would be a perfect, if we just lined the floor with mats, shoot, it's big enough to put a platform in if I really wanted to. But it's like, and it's downstairs and I don't know, whatever. I think a yoga room would be super cool.
Yeah.
But, hey, I got a question for you. And,
I might have an answer.
Okay, cool. You can hear me all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Would you rather do 5-second pause squats or sets of 8 and 10 squats for the rest of your life? If you had to choose.
5-second pause. No question asked.
No question asked, right? Now, I said this the other day because I was at a team training and there was a guy doing pause squats at some ridiculous amount. I think it was like 160, and he was doing 5-second pause squats, 5x5. And he gets out of it and he goes, and I just did a set of 8. And he goes, man, I'd really rather be doing a set of 8. And I was like, not me at all. Like, give me 5 and let me hold at the bottom. And he just, it was crazy how exact opposite we had thought on this thing. And so I was like, I'm going to pose this to Cornell because I'm the same way. 5-second pauses all day. It allows, I'm going down slow anyways. Come on, if we, it's all about the drive up and, but you pause at the bottom, you're working on that strength. 8s make me want to die.
Oh yeah.
That's dramatic.
There's no cheating in 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can count quick on a 5.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I like that.
I think that especially larger lifters, not me, like I would consider us on the larger end. Like if you look at all of the weight classes, we're on the heavier end.
Yes.
Combination of heavier lifters and older lifters. We don't really dive bomb and then just hit the bottom and hope for the best and stand up and try to hit that oscillation. Like we have to hold positions and we can't risk that injury that can just happen when you're trying to bounce out of something. There's a time and a place for bouncing and it's the bottom of a clean, but not necessarily on squats.
No.
And if you go down slow, like we do, like you're getting that eccentric also, which is going to build more muscle than if you just dive bomb and shoot up.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I've never done that, the dive bomb, but just because I like to control it. And you're right. We're at the end, we're at the more of the heavier weight classes, and regardless of the weight on the bar, it makes me feel a little bit more in control. Like, I'm not going to like blow something out, or, I guess early days thinking I was going to get a hernia or whatever. It's a squats are squats are squats. They're good for you. Let's just do them. But like, I don't need sets of 10 of 8 or 8, unless it's like 70 kilos and whatever. But even then, like, no. Cool.
I don't know. I think that we are both into this sport long enough to not need sets of 8, but
yeah. Thank you. Moving on, Cornell, I wanted to do a check-in. Last time we talked about, you were just starting the carnivore thing. You said you were about a 70-30. How's all that going?
Pretty good. I will say I'm probably more like 90-10 most days, but
nice.
I think the 70-30 is still maybe 80-20 is probably a better description of like long-term what it is. I mean, we had Easter involved in there, so there was only so much I could eat.
Totally.
So I ate some other stuff. Then like today we went to the movies and we got popcorn, but it is kind of weird because it took me a week to get down to weight. So I was at 98 kilos in about a week. So I was around 102 and a half, 103 about a week before. Yeah. But a lot of the stuff that I kind of realized is I didn't lose like 4.5, 5 kilos of like body fat. But if you've got a lot of carbs in your stomach and bread and stuff, if you take a pound of steak and you put it in a bucket of water, and you take a pound of bread and you put it in a bucket of water, and you pick both of them up, one of them is going to weigh a lot more than the other. Like the bread is going to soak everything in and hold it, and the steak is just going to come out how it was. So I think that there's a lot of that excess water weight that's not water that I'm using necessarily to live on, like to be hydrated, but just It holds so much more. It takes up more space in you and it holds onto that water. So I think that was a lot of it. And then I was eating a lot to kind of like maintain that weight. And yesterday was the first time it's almost embarrassing to say what I did. I didn't finish my food at a restaurant. I brought it home. Yeah. We went to a barbecue place because I could smell someone barbecuing. I'm like, that smells so good. That's what I want to go get. So we went to this place, and that was probably the second time I've had bread in a couple of weeks. They had like the Texas toast. I got some beans, and then I got probably 15 to 20 ounces of brisket. And I couldn't finish. I could have finished it, but I was full, and I was like, if I continue to eat this, I just won't feel good. And I took home probably 8 to 10 ounces of brisket.
Wow.
And my wife was kind of freaking out. She's like, I saw how much food you got, and I was like, oh, that's just a starter for him. And then you didn't even finish it.
That's just a starter. I love it. Well, and especially with barbecue, man. I don't know about you, but I will eat myself into a coma with barbecue. Like, it's like, no matter how hungry I get or am, I'm like, that's crazy, dude. Listen, you're taking it home, you're probably going to do something with it really fun, like I put in your eggs or something, make burritos.
It was gone about a half hour later from the kids.
Okay, nice. Well, someone got to take advantage of it. I mean, that's pretty crazy, dude. Like, so what you're saying that like, not only is your weight down, but like your appetite is matching your weight in a way.
Yeah. I think that like one of the things that I've always heard is people are like, oh, I don't like to eat anything before Thanksgiving because I want to save room and not be full. It's like, no, if you want to eat a lot at Thanksgiving, you eat a giant breakfast, you stretch that stomach out, and then it's got room for more food for the Thanksgiving meal. And I think that by me eating these like much higher density foods that don't fluff you up and all that kind of stuff, my stomach is just shrinking. So
dude, I like that. You got to train to eat well for Thanksgiving. That's all there is to it. You got to stretch that stomach out, man. Like, otherwise you're going to go in there with this little tiny stomach, eat like 4 things and be done and feel like you're in a food coma. But I like that. That's a good topic, maybe for later. But no, that's really neat. I remember I think I said it over the last week. You had said something about how you were down to 98, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're already. And you're like, actually, I was down last week. So like, you know, you're what you're doing is working. And if anybody listened to the last podcast, go back there if you haven't, because he basically dials out what he's doing and is basically showing you no matter what age, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like you can do it. You can bust down. And I like, this is something that's been on my mind, and I never knew if it was actually real or not, which is when we drop weight, you know, as weightlifters, we're jumping around in our weights and our weight classes or whatever. And you hear people talk about how hard it is to lose weight, but it is a lot of water weight, a lot of stored water weight.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I lost close to 10, 11 pounds. And I know that right now it has shifted where like, actually, I wasn't planning on doing this, but it got to the point where I ordered some new pants today because the pants that I am wearing they weren't that loose, but they weren't like, they weren't like a slim fit pant.
Yeah.
But even my medium Viore pants, they are fitting like my larges now. And like, I know that I am getting smaller and I am getting tighter. And it just got to the point where I look like I've got it's more popular now, but like the back in the day, super baggy, like skater pants on.
Yeah.
Like my kids are all wearing those now. I'm like, oh,
yeah, I know. I know.
I remember that 25 years ago.
They came back, dude. It is ridiculous. Like, I don't even know. I saw a kid the other day. Do you remember Jenkos?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I swear he was wearing a pair of Jenkos. They were so big at the bottom, and I'm like, those aren't. They don't make those anymore.
No, they're vintage and they're expensive
now. They were back in the 1900s. I forgot. So yeah, you know, I understand where you're coming from, and the reason why I say that is because, you know, just at the last month ago or whatever in Idaho, I was the same way. I was down to a 98, and even down to 97 for a half a second, but the clothes fit different. And this is why, and I hope all weightlifters are listening or hear this. This is why I keep multiple sizes of clothes because, or at least I hope my wife is listening to this, because I know that I'm going to be at points in my life. Well, I will be down to 98. I know there will be points in my life where I'll be 103, and all clothes fit different in between there. So I kept joking about it. I got to put on my skinny shirt today, like, you know, a shirt that I didn't fit into in 5 years. So thank you, IWF, for getting us to be all, you know, skinny bod, right, for summer, right?
Yeah, I am interested because they're talking about changing the upper classes for the men again. Because
I know
I've had a couple of people like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, whatever I have to do.
Yeah.
Like, what can I do?
Whatever suits me the best.
And the bummer, though, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be. I think they're going to bring the 110 class down.
Yeah, I think so.
Just based on what they're kind of talking about is like, I don't know if the Olympics are not going to have the 98, but they're talking about a 22 kilo spread between it's not even the top weight, it's the super weight, the heavyweight, and then the next one down.
Yeah.
But I could see them either getting, I don't think they would get rid of a 110, but maybe making it like 106 or I don't know. I mean, who cares? It really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It matters if you're in the Olympics, and I guess it matters if you're trying to, I don't know why else it would matter. So
for the 99% of us, it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
And even if like there's a lot of people who think it does matter, it doesn't. We've sent Wes Kits the last 2 meets.
Yeah.
In our weight class. It's not like we set like 50 people. Like we sent like three men, I think.
Yeah. It, you know, I think it's just something for the homers to really dig in on, I guess. I don't know. I've played around with different weight classes. I think that everybody should like go up a weight class, see how you lift that way, go down a weight class, see how you lift with it that way. You mentioned something recently, I think it was on Friday, about how your bar path is a little different at this weight. And
Yep.
I can attest to that, dude. It does change. And you probably adapted a little bit better than I did, but when I was adapting to that, like, holy crap, I was like, what is going on? And then Joe said something. I was like, oh, that's not how I usually pull it. Okay.
Yeah.
Adjust.
So it's not just the bar path, but I mean, I guess this is all bar path, but if you weigh less, you're not going to have as much mass pulling back on the bar from the knee to the hip. And then same with the pull under. So like there is a lot of different things. It's like different speeds of the body and different speeds with the bar, and you're going to catch it in different places. And it's just something that takes an adaptation. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of cutting a lot of weight for a meet right before the meet.
I like that.
Because that will change a lot too. So I got down about 4 weeks early, and then I'm trying to figure it out now how it goes. So
I've never understood why people do that. Why, you get to the actual meet and you're like, you got these people like, oh, I'm on a massive cut right now. Well, why didn't you cut like 3 weeks before and just maintain it? Do you know, like, why is that a thing? Is it because people want to lift a little heavier or train heavier?
No, I think a lot of people don't have self-control, and by them being that heavy over their weight class, it just shows that they don't necessarily have self-control.
Yeah.
Like I think that they say you should never, at the max, you shouldn't be more than 3.5% over your competing body weight.
Yeah.
So for sake of ease, let's just go with the 102 old weight class. You shouldn't be more than 105.
Right.
Right. Or 105 and a half or whatever. And 105 to 102 is not a hard cut. That is a 2.5, 3 day water cut. And you'll rehydrate. You can rehydrate back about a kilo of that right out, like within the hour.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a good point. Well, either way, it's one of those things that I kind of have never really grasped onto, because like as we all kind of sit at a certain weight, why don't people just lift at the weight that they live? Like it makes more sense to me. It seems like your body is probably will recover better. You'll be healthy. You'll be lifting stronger. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not that easy for everybody, but I think it could be.
I think one more little bit on this. I think we mentioned, or I think I mentioned this earlier. It's the mindset of people saying, I can't do this, or like, I can't cut out this out of my diet, and I can't do this. It's like, no, it's you won't. It's I won't do this. It's not worth it to me. And I think that when you make up your mind to do something and you have a purpose, it should be something that you are doing for that purpose. I'm not going to lose 10 pounds just to lose 10 pounds. Like there's got to be a reason for it. Like I was very content living around 102 kilos. I had no real reason to cut down. And then I gave myself a reason. And then it was like, okay, I made this decision. I committed to it. I paid money to go compete in that division, and I did it. And it was like, I will do this, not I can't. So
yeah, I once had a coach. There was 2 words you couldn't say. The first word or the first phrase, I guess you could say, you could not say I'm sorry. and if you did, he would look at you and he'd either kick you out of practice, or he would say only sorry people are sorry. Okay. And then the other one was I can't. No, you can. You're choosing not to. And that phrase, I can't, probably will elevate my blood pressure more than anything, because I think we are all capable of doing the things that we want to do. Now, am I saying like go scale 100-foot tree in 5 seconds? Yeah, you can't physically do that. But you could go scale that tree and give it a shot, but just, I think I can't. That word. And I think that leads a little bit into this idea of why we do what we do and how I think warm take. I think we have it easy. People that train for a sport have it easy, and the reason why I say that is because we have an accountability piece built in. We're training to compete. We're training for a sport. We're training for, our friends group. We're training to lift a certain amount of kilos. This has been popping up in conversations a lot with people that I've been talking to about, whether it's weightlifting or just going to the gym or whatever. I don't understand how somebody just gets a 24-hour gym fitness or 24-hour fitness membership and just goes to the gym and doesn't have a purpose of what they're training for. To me, even when I wasn't weightlifting or CrossFit or any of that, like I remember one time I worked at a private tennis club, and I'm out on the courts, and this is prior to it was a gap between football. I mean, I was playing in tennis tournaments, but I wasn't good. I was getting beat by like 80-year-old dudes. They were murdering me. Anyways, I was on the tennis court after work. I would go out there, I'd go lift like, bench press and stuff like that. And then I would go run lines. And this Bulgarian guy that I worked with, his name was Slavi. Super cool guy. Still love this guy. He comes out, he goes, "Matt, what are you training for?" I'm like, nothing. I go, "I don't know. I'm just running lines for no reason." And it was a bit of a light bulb moment. But at the same point, like, there's just like, for me, the sport aspect of it is the logical part for it. It's the accountability. It gives me a purpose to go do what I do, and then have the ability to be consistent about it. And I really enjoy that. Do you ever have these conversations?
No, I've definitely thought about that. And it's why, like, I know that my weightlifting is going to have to change over the future, and I'm going to have to do less and less. Yeah. But I have like certain goals that I'm like, one of the goals is I would like to still be able to snatch 120 kilos when I'm 50 years old.
Yeah.
And I said at a weightlifting camp, I'm like, I don't care what I need to do that. Like, if I'm done competing, I don't care if I need to be on drugs. Like, I want to be able to do that at 50 years old. Yeah. And what that did is I think I said that roughly when I was like 38 years old the first time.
Nice.
And so I gave myself a goal for 12 years from now to still be doing this, not just try it at 50 years old and fail. Like, stop lifting, and I just want to be consistent and have like a goal to do it.
50th birthday, dude. I'm coming after you.
So I think that, it's so many people, I think, because I do have a 24-hour gym membership. I don't go that often, but it's because I go to the other gym very often.
Yeah.
And I just see people in there, and I'm like, you don't like, my son and I went pretty consistently for about 3 or 4 months, like 6-7 months ago.
Yeah.
And then just life changed. He started school again, and it just got a little bit busier. And we went back in, and I see the same people that I saw in there 6-7 months ago, and they look the same. And I'm like, are you coming in? Like, I've talked to people, not there, but I just talked to people in general, like, oh yeah, I go to the gym for health. I'm like, you going to the gym you're not being healthy by doing that when you're still eating like crap, drinking a like ton of alcohol during the week, barely sleeping. Who knows what else is going on in their life? But I'm like, I'm not saying you shouldn't be coming here, but there's a whole lot of easier things to do.
Yeah. Hey, you want to feel good and do something good for your life? Cut out the alcohol. Hey, I mean, like, try that. Clean up your diet. Like, a lot of people will. There's one person in particular that I can think of that's like, and here it is. I can't lose weight. Well, no, you can. And I'm here to tell you that losing weight is 90% in the kitchen, 10% in the gym.
Yeah,
in my opinion, and I think that. Most people will probably understand what that means, which is like you could go to the gym all day, but you keep eating like shit, and you keep drinking, going out and drinking, like you just said, drinking, not sleeping, eating like crap. Those three things are going to make you keep on the weight. So, like let's have a saying that I use in my kitchen meetings, which are make sure your house is in order before you go outside of it. And all that means is make sure that you're taking care of the things, the foundational things, your health, or I mean, your diet, your sleep, the things that we can control. Let's just say diet and sleep, and then go to the gym, and then work in like 3 days a week at the gym. But back to what I'm kind of talking about is like, even if you are a 24-hour membership person and you don't have a sport, like set goals, do something to keep yourself accountable and consistent. Find a friend on Instagram and say, hey, every day I go to the gym, I'm going to post on my story something about me being there, just so there's an accountability piece. And then you guys have that back and forth, because I am coming from a very biased standpoint, because I've always played sports in some capacity. And so I've always had a reason to be training of some sort for the most part. I mean, but I ran up against this a little bit in CrossFit, where it was like, why am I doing this 6 days a week, twice a day? Like, why am I so worried about doing muscle ups? I'm not going to regionals, like, is it just because I want to look cool? I don't know, and that was a big thing with CrossFit with me, is that I was competing a little bit, but bro, like I wasn't doing very well. I can tell you that. So it's an interesting topic, and I really would like to hear what people say about it.
No, like the gym is a different thing, but like let's talk about like Damon and what he does. Yeah. Like, would he, if he was never going to go actually play golf, should he be like practicing his swing? Like, if there was someone who's like, yeah, I really want to get this swing perfect before I go and like actually start learning how to play.
Exactly.
So I just go to this like golf store and I just try out all the different clubs, and I see which one works best for me and which one is weighted best and which one's the right height for me and length. Yep. I really know nothing about golf. And it's like, why would someone want to try to perfect a swing when they're not even going to go play?
Right. Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't know. And it doesn't make sense. And I think, it's interesting, because I think Damon is a really good example, because this guy, he's finding reasons to train. He's right now, Damon, I'm going to put it out there. He's training for a triathlon. He does look, I don't know if he's still doing it, but he used to do lacrosse. He golfs all the time. He's at the gym every day, and he's like, the triathlon is something new. He never knew how to he knew how to swim, but he didn't know how to swim competitively. So he's been teaching himself how to do that. That I can get behind. I'm not saying that everybody needs to get out there and do a sport, but what he's doing is saying, hey, there's these local things that are going on. I can go sign up for one and then just teach myself how to do it in 6 months. And there's your purpose. There's your accountability. There's all that. I think where I get a little tripped up, and it goes back to something you just said, which is the idea of like, you're going to have to start, backing off of the weightlifting, but you still have this goal at 50, right? But and we talked about this a little bit with the identity of being a weightlifter. What do we need to identify ourselves? This might be a weird topic, as weightlifters. I don't know. I don't necessarily. I do identify. I do say that I have I am weightlifter. I do competitive weightlifting. When people ask me, hey, what do you do? I talk about that. I talk about the things I like to do. It's fun. But it's not going to hurt my feelings if I don't talk about Like, so I don't
we're not
know.
CrossFitters. We're not CrossFitters
Yeah.
or vegans.
Or vegans. Oh, vegans. Oh, vegans. That meme you sent was hilarious, by the way. All I'm saying is that, like, you don't have to identify with something to have accountability to do it. And it doesn't have to be everything you are. So, like, I just, there's one end of the spectrum that's like, hey, there's the CrossFitter, where everything they talk about is CrossFit, and they are CrossFitters. And then there's I go to the gym because I don't know why, and everything in between. But, like, just find something, I guess, to build accountability. And I think you'll be a little bit more successful throughout your whatever you're doing. Because I don't like to use the word journey.
Yeah, I mean, we've also talked, I think we have brought up before, like, why would you study for a test if you're never going to take the test or you don't take the class? Like, I can understand if you want to learn something, but you're not going to, like, really go into real detail about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If, like, what's the purpose? And I think you don't have to keep competing forever, but let's say that, like, I tell, like, at work, I don't necessarily tell new clients that I am still competing. I oftentimes tell them that I'm coaching and that I do a lot of coaching and that I don't go into detail about how much I'm actually lifting because I don't coach that much. I mean, I do, but I'm not officially coaching that much. Like,
right.
Officially 2 hours a week. That's it. Unofficially, probably 4 to 5 hours a week I'm helping out 4 to 5 hours a week.
Yeah.
There's 2 hours on Saturdays, and then normally at least an hour each other time that I'm at the gym when I'm warming up or I could be lifting and I see something and people know that they can ask me things and
right.
Or if I see something, I'll say something. Not all the time, but
pick and choose on that.
It's also a whole lot more understanding when you tell someone that they want to have a meeting at 5 p.m. You're like, I can't, I'm coaching. And they're like, oh, yeah, no problem.
Love it.
No problem. Like whenever you want to get out of something, you're like, oh, sorry, I'm coaching.
Yeah, I'm coaching.
They barely ask any questions. And then if they do start pushing, then you're like, oh, I coach, like there's coaching hours 5 days a week. And they're like, oh, okay. Yeah, we understand why you don't want to meet in the evenings. I'm like, it doesn't matter if I'm coaching or not. I don't want to meet in the evenings.
Exactly. Leave my evenings alone. Yeah. It's funny because, okay. So as you were talking, I had something come up. So if I wanted to go out and I wanted to perfect the snatch, would I just go do pulls? Probably not. I'd probably go and do the snatch. I would probably do different variations. I'd probably try to get on blocks. I'd probably try to figure out maybe a coach. But there's one thing about a sport that will help you out in a sense that it brings longevity and I'm using the snatch because no matter how long you've been in the sport, like I think the snatch is the most technical lift we have. And it's one of those lifts that I personally struggle with over the clean, but I am always trying to adjust and evolve and get better and get better and get better. But I look at my clean as like, I'm just trying to get stronger because I know the stronger I am, the more I can clean, because I feel like that technique is a little bit more manageable for me. And not everybody's like that. But like, not only does having a sport bring accountability, it also brings longevity. And at 45 years old, I didn't know if I would be doing this, And because of things like the challenge of the snatch is what has kept me going. I'm going to say it's a piece of the pie, right? It's not the only thing, but it brings longevity, and then longevity in a sport brings, in most cases, health. And I don't know about you, but I've been hearing a ton of reports lately that people that lift weights in their 40s tend to live longer. I want to live longer.
Yeah. No, it's all about bone density and muscle mass. And when you get to a certain age, you start losing both of those. So the
Yes.
more you have to begin with, the longer your body in theory can last longer because you
Yeah.
have more to dwindle down. And I think it is a real important thing. I was talking to my sister the other day, and she was just like, I just think it's so weird that our mom had to have, and I also had the same conversation like a month and a half ago. And it was both, or this was with my dad, but it was about my mom that she's never done anything. And she had to get 2 new hips. And it's like, she didn't do anything. She didn't use her hips.
Yeah.
That's why she needs 2 new hips.
Mhm.
My mother-in-law, she just got a new hip. She's worked in an office basically her whole life at a school. My father-in-law got a new hip a couple years ago. He's like 12 years older than her, and he
Mhm.
has worked hard construction his whole life. So his lasted 12 years longer, actually more than that, because he's 12 years older, I think 11, 12 years older. Plus he got it done, or she, yeah. So whatever.
Yeah.
But
No, I
like,
guess you're saying.
it holds up longer if you have a car and you maintain it and you use it rather than just let it sit. It's going to last longer.
Yep. And if I couldn't agree with you more on that. And anybody who wants to challenge that, go out there and put like 3 hard months of training in, and then sit around for 3 days and see how on that third day how you feel. And the reason why I say that is because my hips and knees hurt more on my days off than they do on the days that I'm lifting. And I'm pretty certain it's a lot of things, but part of it is that I'm, when I'm not lifting, I'm, just doing stuff around the house, maybe sitting on the couch, watching a show for an hour at a time. Like, sedentary lifestyle really messes with my body. And maybe that's the downfall to what I do, but I know this when I sit at my desk too long in the day. I have to go home and literally walk walk around the block or sit in a hot bath just to get some blood moving in order for me to feel, able enough to go downstairs into the gym and work, and or not have to take an hour to warm up. You know what I mean? Like, we got to use the things, but we got to use them responsibly too. There are multiple cases out there. You look at like NFL players hobbling around; those dudes are just. Might say that's an irresponsible way to move because you're just getting demolished all the time, and like that's not good for your bones. That's not. Creatine is great for bone density. Creatine is something you can take and not lift or work out or do anything, and you would still get the benefits of it.
One thing I wonder though with football,
yes,
they push the pedal to the metal for as long as they can, and then they stop.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like there's a master football league. It's not like they switch over to flag football and then 2-hand touch or whatever. Like, it is almost like that they pushed so hard, and then like if you're going to a competition, you push hard for 3 months and then you don't do anything for a month. Like, that's when we feel like trash. I wonder how much of that has to do with them. I know that they are very broken. Yes. And they are signing up for that, and that is why they get paid what they get paid, and they are sacrificing their bodies for money. Mm-hmm. But I wonder how many of them would be in better shape if they were still doing some sort of a sport. Also, football is not necessarily small people don't necessarily play football.
Correct.
So no, there's a lot more. Like, you got to eat, and then you stop doing your sport, and you're used to eating that much, and then you continue to eat, so then you just get heavier and more sedentary. Like, I can see why there's a lot of issues with that, but
yeah, I was having a conversation about along the lines of that. Well, first of all, go if you want to see the able body of a football player, watch the Hall of Fame, because they're all these old guys from like the 80s and 70s. I say old, but that's where I'm from too. They're hobbling, dude. They're like canes and like, look like they got scoliosis because they're halfway bent over and knees aren't working. It looks painful. But a lot of these days, and I just had a conversation with somebody about this, because you got people like Tom Brady or LeBron James, or all these athletes are starting to work into their 40s. And I don't know if we have a ton of time to really talk about this, but he goes, how is that happening? How are these athletes all of a sudden able to do that?
I can tell you why.
Yeah, you know where I'm going with this. My mind is like, drugs, dude.
Yeah.
And he goes, no. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how they're doing it. Now, what that negative effect that's going to have, I don't know, but it's allowing them to go longer.
Well, it's also like one of the people that we haven't talked about in a while, Broderick Chavez. He's like a drug guy. Yeah. And he's made comments that he says that if I owned a football team and my football players were not taking drugs to be the best athletes they could, I would get rid of them, because they are supposed to be doing the best job that they can, regardless if it's legal or not.
Yeah.
And if they're not doing it or would not willing to do it, because it's not just you're doing it so you can get bigger and stronger and faster and like that kind of a thing. It's they need to recover. And I remember listening to an old podcast. I don't think it's still out there. I think it was called it was a British guy who was doing his doctorate, and he had to put a podcast together as part of his doctorate. And it was like the drug podcast.
Oh,
the anabolic weightlifter podcast or something.
Holy crap.
And
I'll look for this.
I'll try to find what it was, but it was a super interesting podcast. And there was so much benefit to older people who are continuing to be on stuff. But also in football, like, I'm sure that anyone can get a TUE. When you're paying someone millions of dollars a year, you can pay someone a couple $100,000 to accept that, like, oh yeah, doctor said you need this, you definitely need this. But it's just going to help them recover. So one of the things that guy was saying is that he sees the future of football, because they were trying to not allow it, saying that there could potentially be lawsuits because it wasn't allowing people to heal the way that they were supposed to. And there's so many mental sides of this as well that they can treat with drugs.
Yeah. And well, I think, and I could be misspeaking here, but I'm pretty darn sure that they're not being drug tested by third party. It's all within. But I do know that they give you a heads up. Hey, Garoppolo, you're getting tested next week. Just heads up. And like, as you just previously mentioned, somebody who's getting paid $50 million a year can go find a way to hide whatever he needs to hide if he has something in the system. I would say on the max of what I hear of professional athletes getting popped is like 1 to 2 a year. They have them.
They get like a fine and they have to sit out a game.
Oh yeah, it's nothing. It's one game. So yeah, it's like exactly. Yeah.
I also don't know how it works in those types of sports, but they're probably not going out there searching for drugs. They're just doing ratio levels, and it's not hard to lower to like I know people who are there. There's a clinic like 10 miles away from where I live. And I know like 4 people who go there, and they're like, oh yeah, when you're done lifting and stuff and you want to go here, this is what you need to do. And you need to go out and you need to drink as much alcohol as you can and eat as much crap food the day before, and your testosterone level will just plummet. And then they'll put you on a whole bunch more stuff. And I'm like, what?
I've never heard of that. That is that, but it makes sense.
I think also you're not supposed to sleep. You're supposed to like sleep like 2 hours, drink like a 12-pack of beer, eat a whole bunch of fried food, and then your body is more just freaking out. So that lowers your levels. I'm not sure how that would work in weightlifting.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work either. Jesus. Oh, wow, dude. I've never heard that before, but that is really, that's funny. That is really funny. Um, yeah, Dad, I don't know. It's just one of those things. All the stuff we were talking about today is coming from a place of just having conversation and fun, and there's no soapboxes. There's all open to all strategies and whatever. But hey, if you want to do something for a really long time, have a purpose and a goal. That's really the basis of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, there's that phrase that like the person who loves the journey is happier than the one who loves the destination. But
Yeah.
I heard someone else contradict it and they're like, that's a bunch of crap. Because if you don't have a destination, then you're just wandering.
Yeah.
And you need to have a
Exactly.
destination. Like, sure, the journey is at the end of the day going to be the better story than just making it.
Yeah.
But you have to have that destination so you know which direction to go.
I agree with that 100% because, and on top of that, I think the journey is always the hardest part, anyways. It's only in
Yeah.
reflection that you look back at it and be like, yes, that was all worth it. But in the midst of it, there's nothing fun about that,
No.
So, all right. Well, we're sitting about 45 minutes. Cornell, great show, dude.
Yeah.
What you got anything coming up? I know you got Pan Am's coming. You're getting your house ready. You're a busy man these days, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm going to see the physical therapist on Tuesday. She's been working a lot of my hips. My bottom position is getting lower, which I wasn't prepared for.
That's great.
Just because we've been doing a lot of hip stuff, then a lot of shoulder stuff, but then for some reason I've been having a lot of like muscular chest pain. My wife thinks that she had something like a year and a half ago, and it was strained ligaments and tendons or something like in your ribs. And she's like, yeah, it took like 4 to 5 months to get rid of. I'm like, holy crap. I hope that's not what it is. So
yeah, have her check that out for sure.
It's like tender to the touch, but I know I don't like saying like, oh, I've got some chest pain because people freak out. Like, it's muscular, it's structural, it's not like organs.
Muscular.
And
yes.
So I mean, the total I have to hit isn't that high. So
okay. Well, I think you're on the right track. Congratulations on the weight. Never doubted you, but I always wanted to talk about the process because I think it's great. Good for people to hear that you can do it. Other than that, I ain't got much else. I hope everybody has a fantastic night. Thank you for listening, and adios.
Bye.